a jolt out of Paul. Good. And a hello from Andrew. Wonderful. All right. Let's take a moment just to breathe before we begin our forum this morning. God be with you.
God bless with you.
Let us pray. Gracious one, thank you for this time together. Thank you for this community, its generosity, its vision, for its persistence as we go about this forum. Give us patience and grace. Give us enthusiasm and joy. May we be transparent and use all your gifts given through your people to your glory this morning. Awesome. Well, I'm Reverend Canon Richard Hogue, Canon for Congregational Life here at St. Paul's Cathedral, and on behalf of Dean Penny and our leadership, it is my joy to welcome you to the forum this morning. Welcome, everyone. So today is, I don't know if you've heard, you may have gotten something in your mail about the Pledge Campaign Kickoff. It's that time of year. Here we are. And this year, our theme is Growing in Faith Together. And Demetreus is very proud of the fact that that is an acrostic for gift. All right, there. Such hidden meaning, such power and holiness. I love it. All right, next slide, please. All right, so yeah, we're going to go over the campaign overview here in just a moment. But if I could have the next slide, because I think it has yeah, there it is. So I want to start with our inspiration, actually. 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. When you hear that, what occurs to you? Anybody? Whatever you have. Thank you, Lester. Whatever you have. Whatever you have. We'll hit upon that again in a moment here, but that keynote, yep, whatever you have. Other things people hear in that verse, so happy. Servant leadership, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Other things people hear.
Different gifts.
How diverse our gifts are?
Same.
Same. Cosign. Diversity of gifts. There are quite a few of them.
The unseen people called to build another ministry.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out to the AG. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and thank you Fridays, Gary, for all you do for the new Eucharist. Yes, so diverse ministries like Altar Guild, Acolyte, Stephen Ministry, Eucharistic visitors. Your priests, your deacons. Brooks is at Credo right now, but I'm sure he's still checking his email somehow. Thank you, I'm glad I got one laugh out of that. The purpose of church is to change the world. The purpose of church is to change ourselves. It's to change our lives. It's to change how the course of history moves in the place where we are, because we're called to one mission together, right? And that is to announce the good news of God in Christ, that Jesus died and rose again so that the world doesn't have to be the same ever again. And here we find ourselves, St. Paul's in San Diego, at just such a time as this and just such a place as this. What I want to say about the structure of the campaign overall is it's inspired by you. It is inspired by the work you all do, the ministries that take place every day here, whether it's showers of blessings, whether it's Eucharistic visitors, whether it's our space rental program that allows for other wonderful things to happen in this community. This is a shining light, and you are beacons of hope. I don't know if we have the brochure in front of us right now. That's okay. It might seem, yeah, if you wouldn't mind, Kathleen, thank you so much.
Am I passing them out?
Yeah.
Am I passing them out?
Oh, I'll take one and then we can pass one around. That's perfect. Yeah. It may seem odd to have Tenebrae as the service of shadows as kind of the key feature of our brochure, but when you look at it, I see light in darkness. I see hope where there is hopelessness. I see acknowledgement of what's going on in the world while maintaining a deep core of faith. And I think for me, that's what comes through this campaign, is that we are moving in faith. We are growing in faith together in a world that would otherwise have us divided, saddened, and weary, and unable to move forward. Your community outreach and impact through your ministries is how we get this done. Next slide, please. So, where the theological rubber meets the reality of the road. Here we go, folks. Can we actually go to the next one? I know I really like the pie chart, but this is more helpful, I think. So, we have about a $2 million budget at St. Paul's, 1.05 million of which is what is given through your generosity. And just as a quick note, for those who are saying 1.05 sounds exactly like a previous year's goal, that is true. And part of our response to the generosity of this community is it feels like that's kind of the highest ceiling that we're able to consistently reach. And we wanted to honor that and respect that and not try to say, let's stretch even more than usual, simply because for about 10 years, it's been around that level, give or take, on average a little bit. But you can see the ranges of pledges, and this is not put up here for shame. This is not put up here to make anybody feel any kind of way. This is simply to be honest about what it takes and how much of what it takes to do the ministry that we are so known for in San Diego and that we try to celebrate week in and week out here. So we have about 100 pledges between $1,000 and $1,500. About 46 pledges from $1,500 to around $3,000, 39 pledges from $3,000 to nearly $5,000, 35 from $5,000 to nearly $10,000, 22 pledges from $10,000 to $20,000, and then 7 pledges of over $20,000 or more. This is the nuts and bolts of how these things work. It's not fun, it's not glitzy, but it is the back-end work that makes this happen. Shout out to our money counters, wherever you are, because you make it happen every 2 weeks, thank you. But it takes this and then some, I should say, to do the powerful work that we all feel called to do. These numbers represent ministry at its most micro form. How do we get it done? What do we need to pay for? From the dishes to the construction workers. All right, let's go ahead and get to the next slide. Not the chart, yeah, I'm abandoning the chart. Proportional giving. A lot of scripture around proportional giving, and I will be honest, I am not able myself to practice it the way that scripture tells me I ought to. The way I ought to is 10% of what I earn for my work here. I just got a mortgage in San Diego. You all know what that's like. It is not an easy task. So when we talk about proportional giving here, it is not to make, again, this is not about shame. That's not what this is about. But this is to be informed in our faithfulness. And giving is one form of our faithfulness. So we wanted to lay out really clearly to help you, and each other figure out, where I am on this chart and what does proportional giving look like. Biblical giving is 10%. Again, I'm right there with most of you. Not going to happen. It's just no matter how much cold brew I make, it doesn't seem to catch up to the rest of the money that I want to save, whether it be for church or some other charity or my own purposes. But this gives us an idea of what faithful giving for each and every one of us in our own lives. We all have our own ways we need to stretch. This gives us an idea of what that can look like. I know I've prattled on a little bit. Are there any questions about this or anything else I've said recently? I know I'm doing the hard work of stewardship here because I'm getting these kind of oh crap looks. Hey, keep going. Wonderful, thank you. I appreciate that, Andrew. All right. No questions, then we'll move right along ahead here. Yes, please. this is where I think you can come in, my friend.
Sure, thanks. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Demetreus Gregg. It's been my honor and pleasure to chair the stewardship committee here at St. Paul's. And again, as Richard said earlier, most of you would have gotten your pledge cards in the mail. If you have not, we have some general pledge cards in the back that I would strongly invite you to avail yourself to as we look at supporting mission and ministry in 2026. But one of the things you'll notice about the pledge card this year is we're not only focusing on your financial gifts to support St. Paul's. There are diversity of gifts in this community, and as we prepare for 2026 and our communal life together, we ask that you bring all of those gifts to bear. So on the back of your pledge card, you'll see there's an opportunity where we invite you to contribute 1 hour a week of your time in volunteer support of a ministry here at St. Paul's, like buying mics. So bringing your time and talent to our communal life together, there are worship and liturgy roles. We have our ushers, our acolytes, our greeters, all important roles here that make St. Paul's a welcoming and inviting community. I don't know if many of you have met Taylor already, but there's opportunities to volunteer with our children's ministry, volunteer with our small groups, Bible studies, our outreach and justice efforts, thanks to Diane and her team for all of the important work going on in that area, as well as our music, arts, and support roles. You can join our choir, there's our art and environment team, our audiovisual ministry.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark, yes, thank you. And Kathleen and her team for administrative help, our office angels, as we like to call them. But really prayerfully discern not only your financial. This is a joke.
We wish.
Third time's the charm. So really think about your time, talent, and treasure that you can bring to bear in supporting our communal life together in 2026. Next slide. So this is always a tough one, legacy giving. And it's always something that seems really taboo to talk about because it's hard for us as humans to face our own mortality. But at the same time, the way I like to frame legacy giving is really thinking about an extension of your values after your lifetime. So many of you have given so much to this community, and when we pass on, we hope you will think about ways that you can remember St. Paul's in your estate plans and continue the values that each of you hold so dear and that this community holds so dear. Next slide. One of the things about legacy giving that really helps us here at St. Paul's is it goes into our Cathedral fund. That is our endowment that allows us to draw income on a regular basis to support our operations, but also allows the mission and ministry that each of you make possible to continue. One of the ways you can do this, whichever instrument you use to designate St. Paul's, is consider an amount or percentage with no fund restrictions. That way it can go to the greatest need at that time here at St. Paul's. Another method that people use is they endow their pledge. And one way to do that is look at what you give on an annual basis, multiply that by 25, and that is the number that you can leave to St. Paul's. And that would keep your pledge, whatever you were pledging during your lifetime, St. Paul's would continue to receive that same amount each year as we draw from our endowed funds. Because this is on camera, I want to be clear, I'm not giving any legal or tax advice. So I would suggest you speak with an estate planner, an estate attorney who can help you through some of the complications of establishing a legacy gift. And obviously that's something that would be tailored to your particular financial situation. So, and obviously please reach out to Richard If you have more questions about the Legacy Society, or if you'd like us to connect you with someone who can help you with that paperwork and making those types of donations to St. Paul's.
I'll be brief. If you are interested at all in our Legacy Society, the Reverend Canon Michael Carr has been gracious enough to open up his home on November 15th, Saturday, November 15th, for our Legacy Society celebration and brunch at 10 o'clock. I would love to have you there as my guest. If you are interested in joining the Legacy Society, please don't hesitate to talk with me about that. As Demetreus said, it can be difficult for us to stare down our finitude in the face, but it's an important thing to do, and in the sense that you want your legacy and your values to live on, this is one of the best opportunities to have a continued lasting impact in the city, in the community that you love. So I invite you to that. Again, please touch base with me if you would like to join us on November 15th.
Are there any questions? Gary, I see a question for you.
Yeah, I mean, the Legacy Society,
You're going to be on camera too.
I hardly need a bike. I think the bike died. Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay, it's working. If you want to leave money and you don't even have a will made out yet, so we'll see you about that.
Again, cannot give financial or financial planning advice, but yes, I would be happy to hear what you are thinking about. I would be happy to include you in our Legacy Society. We do not require you to hand over documentation of a gift, to be clear, so you can set that at whatever level you would like. We definitely have a preferred method that was discussed briefly, times in 25, so that there can be that kind of 4% drop per year. But there are different ways to do this, and there are a lot of different ways to do kind of legacy giving that I won't get into gory detail about here now. But there's also minimum distribution requirements for some people. While that's not legacy giving in estate planning, it can be a form of legacy giving when you aren't getting a steady stream of income anymore, if you're on a fixed income. So there are a lot of different ways to do it.
And you're able to make referrals.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, for the less financially inclined, yes, I'm happy to help find resources that are completely neutral and do not benefit the cathedral other than your planned giving.
Very good.
Yes, please.
I think there's a perception that as a result of our real estate dealings, et cetera, and the
I love that this question is going, yeah.
the ability to build up the endowment, et cetera, that everything could conceivably be very smooth sailing for a long period of time, et cetera. So I'm wondering if you can comment about the endowment spend down that we're now engaged in, and why it's important to try to avoid doing that.
I am so happy you've asked this question. So yeah, and I think this is true not just of St. Paul's Cathedral, but this is true of kind of any larger parish institution. So I'll start with a blank slate, and then I'll get more specific to our context. A lot of people, when they see a church that they feel is doing successfully, think, oh, well, they've got plenty of resources. Dear God, people, look at the budget sometime, right? I know it's not the most fun thing in the world. It is not what I am most inclined to do myself, but it tells you a story about what a group of people are going through, where their collective values are, and where they might be headed. We at St. Paul's are particularly lucky that we had land to sell to Greystar, which was developed, which is now this building we are standing in, and we are supremely fortunate for it. However, I wasn't here when the deal was made, so I don't remember the exact amount of money that the church did get from the deal, so please hold this with a grain of salt. But those funds are in a quasi-endowment. We don't have a true endowment here at St. Paul's. And that's partly due to history. In the briefest form, the Diocese of Los Angeles and the Diocese of San Diego used to be the same thing. We split off in 75, I believe it was, or 74. Not split off in a bad way. We just became our own entity in San Diego. So a lot of the funds that existed for the larger Diocese of Los Angeles still sit in the Diocese of Los Angeles. So there's a chunk of St. Paul's money sitting with the Diocese of LA. This is not a hostile relationship, I want to be clear, but just to help paint the picture of where the pots of money are for everyone. So there's a little pot of money with the Diocese of Los Angeles. We do have some funds invested with the Episcopal Church Foundation, and then we have some through a group called State Street as well. So while we have probably collectively, what would you say, Penny, 5-ish million?
On the cathedral side, I think it's about 7 million.
7 million, okay. Yeah. And then there's the LLC as well. So we don't have any one large, enormous pot of money from which to continually draw from. And I don't mean this with shame either, what I'm about to say, but to be honest about our fiscal situation, we do at least about $100,000 every year in draws. So of that 7-ish million that we have, there had been 8, but because of drawdowns over time, to fulfill the ministry we feel called to do as St. Paul's, you get to start to see the picture. And when you're looking at about $7 million in funds at an annual drawdown of around $100,000, the math doesn't math forever. For even more drawdown.
It's a lot more than 100,000. It's more like 180,000.
There we go, 180,000, straight from the boss. Thank you, Penny, I appreciate it. So you get a feeling of where the picture actually is. That does not mean we are penniless. That's not my point. We do have resources. We can accomplish good things. But we really, really need each of us to dig a little bit deeper, and we're doing that this year. Along with the mortgage, I know. Yeah, she might kill me when we get home. This is my wife, Maura, everybody, for those who don't know her, by the way. We're stretching a little bit further, too, because we see the same numbers that you all hear about at annual meeting and at the budget report, which we're beginning our budget conversations in earnest for next year. But I hope, if you have more detailed questions, I'm happy to go into it, but that's kind of the broad brush stroke of where we are. I see Sue, and then we'll go back to Diane.
I just want to add a few points to what you said.
Please.
I totally agree with you as far as our need to build up our endowments. Jim Carroll, that was one of his pet projects when he was the dean, and he started an endowment fund, but it needs to continue to grow. And the monies that we do have invested in other pots have a good return, so don't be down too much on LA.
Oh yeah, no shots fired at LA on this one.
So anyway, I just wanted to say, we love this place and we'd like to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely, well said. And we know our context too, right? This is not something we dreamed up overnight with the proposed budgets and our stated goal of $1.05 million, right? We know that a lot of you here in this room are still helping us get a music center done right now, right? This is a very busy and active campus, and there's a lot going on, and you all want to do a lot and have generously backed up what you want to do. Whether it's the music center, whether it's the renovations we've done on the 3rd floor of the main breezeway building, in conjunction with all the music center stuff. This community has given and given and given. You're amazing. We appreciate that. And so now, just as Sue was saying, we're trying to make sure we do our best to live within our means while still creating a legacy for the future. Diane, I'm sorry you've had to wait a little bit, please. Yeah.
I'm reluctant
reluctant to bring this up because...
Go for it.
But I am bringing it up because there may be people who feel sort of like me, that there's an election coming up and it's a big one. And I know that it's a different pot of money and you should be giving 10%, but when you only have so much income, as a retired person, and I probably don't want to work at Walmart, thank you. Most of my work is a volunteer here. So it's a tension for me. You know, I really do want to support candidates who might actually change our government. And I also struggle with wanting to support the church. So there's that tension, that maybe if I increase $1, that will be understood, or a little bit more. But it's uncomfortable for me, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
I totally get it, and I'm not here, I don't think anybody's here to tell you how to do your charitable donations. That's not it. It's in our identity as Christians. How and what do we want to give to? That is a personal choice for all of us, and I totally respect where you're coming from on that. And we should participate in the wider world as well. In fact, Jesus calls us to do that. So kudos to you. And if you can give more, great. And if not, thank you for giving what you can. There's no shame or blame in this. We're all meeting God where we can in the ways that we can. Have I gotten through? Any other thoughts or questions? And Demetreus, of course, if you have other things you'd like to say. Yeah, by all means, Wanda.
Thank you, Demetrius, for shepherding us to this wonderful goal and for your guidance and leadership in getting there.
I didn't pay Wanda to say that. Wanda is a member of our stewardship committee, so really my thanks goes to you in the work you've helped us accomplish. So I do want to circle back to one thing Diane said earlier, which I've seen done in other churches because people struggle with tithing for fixed income for whatever reasons. But one way to also, while we welcome any gift to the church to help us support mission and ministry, we realize there are other philanthropic things that people want to do. So some churches encourage their members to look at their income and spread 10% of your income across your church, other philanthropic organizations that you want to support, and just do your 10% tithe that way. So that may be one way that could be helpful for you or anyone else for your whatever your financial situation may be.
I just want to say I really like the concept because I think there's so much individualism here, and our country really needs a sense of community, and you're really stressing the sense of the community. I've been reading George MacDonald's, the Princess and the Goblin and the Curdy, and the whole theme there is belief and faith and community, and the good king believes in helping his subjects, and so I think, this is countercultural, you realize, but I think that the concept comes first, and then the action comes later, and I have to applaud you for the concept of community.
Thank you so much, Barbara.
Are there any other questions? All right, well, thank you. Obviously, each of you for your generosity to St. Paul's and your continued generosity to St. Paul's, because each of you make our mission and ministry possible, and we couldn't do it without you. So as you prayerfully discern your financial and time commitment to St. Paul's in 2026, I ask you to be generous in spirit and heart and resources, because we needn't look too far to know that the world so desperately needs what the people of St. Paul's can do. So thank you for your generosity, and we obviously look forward to continued partnership with each of you in our mission and ministry in 2026.
Thank you.
Thank
week, Taylor is going to talk about the Children and Families Ministry Program. It's going to be great.